I am Angela, your success coach, and I am here to challenge you to grow in success and be an inspired version of yourself. That version of yourself that leaves you in awe, like, wow, that was me. That's mine. I did that. Today, I wanted to join you and say, I want you to stop. Stop the self sabotage. So, what we find is that we don't get to where we want to go, not because someone else is blocking the way, but because we've sabotaged the game for ourselves. It is what it is. I want you to feel empowered today and know that even though, and you fill the blank, you fill in the blank with what it is that you feel like has prevented you or makes you unworthy of X. Even though you are successful. Today, I want to just spend just a little bit of time talking about growing in success. On one of my prior recordings, I talked about the fact that you are successful, that every one of you have experienced some measure of success. And I received quite a bit of feedback and quite a bit of, comments and DMs from successful bosses like you who didn't agree with that statement, who did not agree that they were successful. And so I want to just spend a little bit of time just showing you that, yes, you are. You have experienced some measure of success. And that in acknowledging that, in taking the opportunity to celebrate the successes that you have achieved, is the beginning of opening the door for the next accomplishment, for your ability to grow in success. I was in the shower, and I'll share with you guys that between the shower and my vehicle, there's a whole lot of conversation going on. And I'm gonna change that, not conversation. There's a lot of depositing that happens in those two places. And so a few weeks ago, I was in the shower and God began to speak to me about the 10 Commandments. And so in our relationship, I'm real. And I said, I don't know what it is that you intend on doing with this, because I know that when there's a deposit, that there's an expectation, right, that comes along with it. So I'm not one that's quick to say I'm not asking for a thing, because I understand that with any reward, there's responsibility. So I'm not raising my hand. I'm just going to receive the blessings as they come and be appreciative of them, but acknowledge and know that there is responsibility attached to them. But on this day, what he began to show me was, even though I gave you 10 commandments, and he only gave us 10, he gave us 10 commandments, 10 rules to guide our life by. He gave us 10, and even though we are not able to completely satisfy all 10 at all times, he still blesses us. We are still successful. When I began to think about these 10 commandments, the first thought in my mind was, let me kind of go through them and see, all right, so if you want me to have a conversation about these 10 commandments, which of them can I say that I have 100% not gone against. And so I started going through them in my head. And as I hit each commandment, I'm thinking, okay, so thou shalt not. Okay, I don't know. I can't say I haven't done that one. Thou shalt not. Okay, wait. By the time I got to like the third one, the shower was over. I was getting out. Because what it really gave me a picture of is that even though I'm not perfect, even though, in spite of, I'm still successful. Not successful from the way that people look at it. So when the world looks at success, they look for tangibles. They say, oh, do you have a husband? And do you have a car? Or do you have a house? Do you have a good job? Are your children prospering? What does your bank account look like? That's not how I measure success. That's not a measurement of success. It's not. Those are tangible things that you have achieved, you've accomplished. And I give you accolades for all of those things that you have acquired. But listen, success is measured by living a legacy, being your purpose, not just knowing it, but being your purpose. My success is measured. The yardstick that my success is measured by is when I get in the line to get through the gate, am I going to get on the other side? Am I leaving behind a pathway, a trail, a legacy that I have walked in that you're able to physically see and follow to Christ? It's not about what my bank account says. Yes, wealth is important to ensure that I can sustain, but that's not a measurement of success. How many wealthy people have you seen in the media or have you heard of that were unhappy and even have taken their life? And they have immeasurable amount of dollars. They have houses and they have husbands, and it's not a measure of success. I need you to reevaluate how you're measuring this thing. And even when you feel like, listen, I'm falling short even of the measurement of success that I have placed for myself, I need you to stop. And I need you to acknowledge the small wins. Celebrate the small wins. Even the little, celebrate it. Acknowledge it. You did that. You did that. It doesn't matter what someone else's opinion is about it. You did that. Celebrate you. Don't brush it off like, oh, that's just what. No. Acknowledge it and then celebrate it. Because you are worthy. You deserve to be celebrated. I began to think a little bit about capacity. So let's talk a little bit about this word capacity. When I think about capacity as it relates to you and I, and how we must take our time and focus on either fulfilling and filling our capacity or growing our capacity. So let me give you an illustration here. So we're on the same page. If you can be in one of two buckets, you can be a bucket where your capacity, your vessel is so large, but yet you are pouring 24 ounces of water into it, that you are not even attempting to operate in the capacity that you have been given, where you have sabotaged that space versus filling it. And it could be from a fear of success. It could be because you had negative thoughts. It could be a plethora of things that are causing the self-sabotage to go on. But you have the capacity of a plunge pool. Like it's full. You can fill it with a waterfall. That's the capacity that you have. But yet and still you use a Dixie cup and just pour just a little bit. Because my gosh, if I pour any more, somebody might see it. Somebody might acknowledge what I have the ability to do. Somebody might call me out. No, I'm going to sabotage this thing so I don't have to worry about using the gift. I don't have to worry about you calling my name for that, even though I have the ability, even though I am gifted in it. I'm going to apply a level of sabotage to prevent it. Or you could be on the other side and your capacity could be that of the Dixie cup, but yet you're trying to pour a waterfall into it. Yeah. In that scenario, you need to grow your capacity so that you can fulfill the dream. In both of those scenarios, what we have to do first is begin with the end in mind. What is it that we want to accomplish? What does the empire view look like? You know, go back to when you were little and you used to dream and you used to close your eyes and be able to say, you know, my house going to look like this. When I grow up, I'm going to be this. And you would boast in that thing because you were confident in it. You were lacked fear. You know, when you played, that's my car. Go back to that empire view. And if it's been so long and you've buried it so deep that you can't remember it, then rely on your imagination. If you can imagine it, if you can see it, you can have it. But you have to start with that empire view. When you start with that empire view, you have somewhere that you're going to. You know, think about it like a navigation. If you put the destination in the navigation system, see, I know about navigation systems because I have no, like my directions, don't ask me how to get there, I will get you lost. But if I use my navigation system, if I, you know, put it Siri directions to, you know, if I use the navigation system and put the end, because it doesn't ask me where I'm starting at. It can pinpoint my current location. I put the destination. It does something that we all need to do. It gives us the steps to get there. It lays the foundation so that we can follow to get to where we want to go. You begin with the end in mind because you begin with the destination. So the first thing is begin with the end in mind. But the second thing that you have to do to either grow your capacity or remove self-sabotage of your capacity is begin with the end in mind. And then two, you have to plan this thing out. You have to actually put actionable steps in play that you can execute. So we're about to come up on that time of year where there are those vision board parties, you know, where you get with the girls. And at this point in the game, it's probably going to be virtual. You're going to start seeing all these virtual vision board parties pop up, right? And it's a great opportunity to kind of get together and, you know, have that girl time and, you know, get those pictures cut out and make that pretty cardboard, you know, so you can post on the wall or your refrigerator, the back of the bathroom door. You know, they tell you to post it somewhere where you can see it often, put it on the mirror. But I challenge you to look at the board from 2020, 2019, 2018, go back 5 years. Do they look the same? Because if they look the same, that means that you missed this second step. You missed the actions that were necessary in order for you to accomplish it. You put the destination address in the GPS, but you didn't get the steps to get there. Okay? You have to put in actionable steps to accomplish the end goal. So number one, we begin with the end in mind. But number two, we have to put in actionable steps. Now, that doesn't mean that the empire view won't grow, because the closer you get to that thing, the more it grows and gets more detailed, right? It doesn't mean that the actionable steps won't shift and modify, because it's a living thing and it grows. As you grow, it grows. It modifies and shifts and forms to fit. It also does not mean that you won't get off course. You know, when you driving and you have paying attention to the navigation system and she tells you to take a right at the light and you take a left, but because you have the plan in place, you now have the opportunity to recalculate. You know, she says recalculating. And she reroutes you. You might have to go around the bend to get back on track, but at least you know how to get back on track. See, when there are no actionable steps in play, once we get off track, we start really just rearing off and going in a completely different direction. And now we don't even know where the empire is. We don't got lost. Puts me in mind of the ones that was wandering for 40 years. You know, y'all Bible folks know what I'm talking about. You know, the Israelites just wandering when it was around, it's round the corner. Follow the directions. Follow the directions. So I've told you to celebrate the wins. You are a successful woman, empowered for greatness, birthed with a purpose. You have a level of capacity that either you need to fulfill or grow. You either need to get out your own way or grow what you have today. And you do that by taking very simple steps. Number one, begin with the end in mind. Visualize and identify, what is this empire view that I'm trying to accomplish? And then lay out that path. What are the steps that are essential in order to accomplish it? And listen, you might not know all the steps yourself. That's when you need to lean on others. Like really, like for real talk, build your inner circle. If you don't know, somebody knows. If you can't Google it and YouTube it, then you need to pick up the phone and call somebody, text somebody, but somebody knows. And if they're true to you, they're willing to support you. Build your inner circle with people that are able to help grow your capacity, that you're able to deposit into them, and that can deposit into you. You don't have to do it on your own. As a matter of fact, you can't. If you could do it on your own, you would have already done it. I'm just saying, if you could do it on your own, you could have already done it. Build your inner circle. And then the last piece that I want to share with you today is start from the inside out. You can't start on the outside. You have to start on the inside, working on you. You can't focus on them. You have to focus on you. Yes, the things that you do impact them. So if I grow me, if I make this a better version of Angela, who benefits? Everybody that I impact, everybody that I come in contact with benefits if I am a better version of Angela. Focus on me. I am the only person that I can change. I'm sorry if you thought you could change him. I'm sorry if you thought you could change your children. No. You can impact them, but you cannot change them. You can influence them, but you cannot change them. And in order to grow your impact and your influence, you have to grow yourself. You have to grow your ability to connect. And in order to connect with others, you got to connect with you. It starts inside. Flat out, period. So again, watch how you're measuring your success. And if you don't know how you're measuring your success, stop. Stop. And take the opportunity to capture it. If you're not already journaling, start. Start. And just capture the word success. Write the things that are essential to that word for you. So I want to be ever so clear. I don't care what anyone else's definition of it is. What's yours? If you don't have one, then you have no way of measuring it. If you have no definition, how do you gauge whether or not you are or aren't? You can't. So you have to do that. So I'm going to redo these numbers. Number one, define success for yourself. What does it look like for you? Don't ask nobody their opinion. It's irrelevant. What does it look like for you? Now you have something to measure it on. Once you've done that, remember to celebrate the wins. You are successful. You are. You have experienced some measure of success in your life, and somebody has been impacted by it. Your next step is to grow or fill your capacity by starting with the end in mind and then building actionable steps in order to accomplish it. If you veer off the course, it's okay. Recalculate. Recalculate. I appreciate each of you for joining. Drop in the DM if you have, drop in the comments if you have questions. Share what your definition of success is. This is an opportunity and an environment where you are able to collaborate. You have an inner circle here of powerful women where you can get in this thing and grow. Real talk. Capitalize on it. Don't let it go to waste. There's some powerful women in this group. Every person present has something to offer. Tap into it. I'll see you next week. Have a great one.